I truly am the only candidate out of the 5 Republicans that are listed right now that can beat the incumbent Derek Tran that took the seat away from Michelle last year. If everything stays the same today, I would beat him today.
Welcome to Fountain Valley. This is a beautiful day. The clouds sort of moved away. The rain is gone, so it's a beautiful spring day. We're here to support Chuong Vo for Congress. So how about a round of applause for making him here today and supporting him? It's my privilege as the mayor of Fountain Valley to be hosting this. It's an important time as we get ready for ballots to drop soon. It's a contested race, as you know, and we want Chuong to win. So that's why we're here. We're here to help Chuong win. So part of your job is when you leave here is to tell others that Chuong Vo will be our next congressman and you need to support him. And so that's part of your homework, right? Is to help the best candidate win. As usual, there's a lot of other candidates, and there's always confusion, but let's not be confused today. Today, we know who the best person for this job is, who has been training for many years to be ready for this, and I'm very pleased to endorse Chuong Vo for Congress. I also came from Cerritos, and very proud to be part of that city that's celebrating 70 years. And by the way, just fun fact, the logo, that 70th anniversary logo for Cerritos, my younger brother Phil designed that, and he works for the city of Cerritos, still lives there. So what I want to do is pass the mic to former city mayor of Cerritos and our future congressman, Chuong Vo.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jim, Mayor Jim, for that and opening your house. But before I start, if it's okay, can I ask someone else to come up to say a few words real quick? Dan, would you mind coming up just to introduce yourself? And then why it's important for you to be known as well? Okay. And so I would love to have you say a few words, okay? Okay.
Yeah, they tend to do this to me a lot. They don't tell me I'm going to speak, and at the last minute, I get told to come up. But thank you, Chuong. This is your day, and I want you to know that somebody came into my neighborhood and it flooded the neighborhood with Tom Vo signs. They actually stuck one in my front yard, and I took it out, threw it in the trash can, and put a Chuong Vo sign in its place. So one side of the tree's got Chuong Vo and the other side's got Gracie Vandermark, so we got you both covered there, so running for office. But Chuong is a man of integrity, and he is definitely the best man running for this position out of all the candidates, and you've got my complete unconditional support, and anyone that I know, I have let them know all about you, and that you're the one that should be voting for. I'll keep this short on me because this is about him today, but my name is Dan Hay. I am running for City Council in Fountain Valley. Barbara looked at me and goes, "I've never seen you before," and I've been living here 32 years. Or she's been living here 30 years, and I've been living here 32 years. I'm very well known in Huntington Beach. A lot of people know me in Fountain Valley. Usually incumbents, new candidates that are running against incumbents do not get the endorsement from the OC GOP or the Lincoln Club. I've already received the endorsement from the OC GOP. Should have the Lincoln Club's endorsement within the next couple of weeks. And Scott Baugh, Tony Strickland, Gracie, Michelle Steele, you name them, they all know me very well over the last 30 years. And you will get to know me very well too over the next 6 months. I don't do anything half speed, and Jim has graciously lent his support to me, and I am definitely supporting Jim for re-election come November. So with that, I'm good, and Chuong, we're right behind you all the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. So for those who live in Fountain Valley who can vote, obviously Dan, I'm supporting Dan as well. I met him just through this whole journey while I started running for Congress, and I've met some really good people along the way, and Dan is one of them. And of course, the mayor, thank you so much for your endorsement right away and opening up your house here to let those who don't know me or haven't met me yet. And how many of those that raise your hand that have not met me yet?
Today?
Today, yes, have not met me before today. Have not met me before today. Okay, perfect. So I'm really talking to 5 people, right? But it's okay. It's important that the 5 is going to turn into 20, 30, 40, 50, and that's what we're working on with this campaign. Is just word of mouth. And so just for those 5, I'm going to tell you a story about who I am, how I got here. The rest of you kind of heard this story already, but I'm going to tell it again, okay? Because I think there's always a great way for people to know the struggles. Oh, can you see me? Okay. The struggles that we've had to get to where we're at here in America and why I'm doing what I'm doing. So back in 1975, the fall of Saigon happened, and my parents, we were living in a house that was pretty nice because at the time we were fortunate to live in one of the bigger homes in the community. And when the Communist Party came down, they took over the house, put the whole family of 9 into a small little house, a small little room in the house. And I was told, because I don't remember much of it, but they basically said that my siblings told us that they were feeding us dog food. That's the food that they gave us at the time. And so my dad, he was a fisherman. He knew a lot of boat captains, and so he decided that we were going to flee the country. We're one of the first groups that fled the country. Not a lot of people knew what to do with us, with my family and the other families that are on the boat. But this story is not unique to me. This is a lot of refugees from Vietnam that went through this. But when we went to the boat captain, and the boat captain saw that my mom was carrying a 1-year-old, and said that, well, you can't take that 1-year-old because that 1-year-old is going to give up our location, be prized, make any noises, and there's other families that were escaping. And so my mom refused to let the baby go, and so the boat captain basically told my mom that if that baby cries, then we're going to have to slit his throat and throw him overboard to protect everybody else, right? And so why I love America and why I believe in American values, because my parents risked lives to get here. And that 1-year-old is standing in front of you running for Congress today. And if it weren't for my parents to take that risk, I wouldn't be here today to do what I'm doing. And so moving fast forward real quick, we grew up in a small little town called Lawndale, California. Who knows Lawndale? Yeah, so it's a small little city over there in the South Bay. And, I was the only one in my high school, my senior year, that got accepted to UCLA. And so I went to UCLA, fortunate enough that I did pretty well. I went to UCLA because my parents, obviously, when they risked everything, what do our parents want us to become? Doctors, engineers, and all these other things, right? So they wanted me to be a doctor, and so I did go to UCLA's pre-med, major in biochemistry, and I did all that, and in the first year I realized, you know what, I still, this is not me, I'm not happy doing this. And, when I was growing up, I watched a TV show called Chips, right? Ponch and John, and so I really wanted to be a police officer. My whole entire youth, watching that growing up, I wanted to be a motor cop because that's what Ponch and John did. And I always joke with folks, I always tell folks, like when we were younger, most of the boys wanted to be cops and firefighters. The ladies, what did ladies wanted to be when they were little? Princess, what? Senators? Okay, that's a good one. I haven't heard that one. What about over here? What did you ladies want to do when you were little? Teacher? Okay, well, all right. Well, I guess boys like to fantasize a little bit more when it comes to like these professions, and so we want to be firefighters, police officers, or maybe like in the military because it's kind of cool, right? Or baseball players, sports, yeah. So everyone, I always joke around. Everyone kind of grew up, got real jobs, and I ended up just growing up still wanting to be a police officer, and so I just wanted to do what I really wanted to do. So that first year while I was in college, I realized I didn't want to be a doctor. I just didn't want to do it, and I was doing it for my parents. And so I changed my major to anthropology with an emphasis in biology because I thought I was going to be a coroner. There was like a relationship there with doing forensic science, being kind of in the law enforcement field, but also be kind of like a medical examiner. So kind of the best of both worlds for my parents. And I realized I still didn't want to do that. I wanted to be a police officer. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to apply to be a police officer. I put myself through the UCLA Police Department because I was at UCLA. And I worked there. They hired me. They sent me to the Orange County Sheriff's Department out here for the academy, and that was one of the roughest times of my life. The 6 month Orange County Sheriff's at the time was one of the high stress academies still left. There was only 2 CHP in Orange County, and of course I got sent from there. That's my luck, right? And so I graduated and then became a police officer at UCLA for 2 years, and after 2 years I lateraled over to Torrance Police, and that's where I finished my whole career, my other 26 years. And so for a total of 28 years I was a police officer, and I just retired last year. And I was also, while I was a police officer, there was something that came up where I lived. There was a situation inside the Cerritos Park East bathrooms. There was a little girl that was in the boys' restrooms playing in the water, and I was like, "Whoa, what's going on?" I was there with my little son at the time, and I was giving him a shower after his swimming lessons. And when I found her, I brought her out to the front desk, saying, "Hey, this little girl got lost. Would you do something about it?" They said, "Okay, we got it." And so I went back in and made sure my son was taken care of. On the way out, the little girl was gone, and found out that they had given her to a 14-year-old, her brother, to go home. And I'm like, wait a minute, that 14-year-old already lost her once. Why didn't you call the parents? And so when I asked them what their policy was for lost and found kids, the city didn't have a policy. And that's so true, because when I got elected as a council, there was no policies, written policies on anything, and that's what I started doing. So because of that, I emailed, they said, if you have a problem with it, you can contact the council. Well, the council, I emailed, I called, they ignored me. They didn't respond to me, they ignored me. So I remember how that felt. That pissed me off, actually. And I remembered, like, that's not right for a city elected official to ignore your constituents. And so I remember that kind of motivated me. Well, I can either complain, be pissed, or I can do something. And that's when I started applying to be a commissioner or a committee member. And at the time, I got appointed to be a safety committee member, because my background, I was a police officer at the time, was a perfect fit. And from there, my councilwoman, who was my mentor at the time, right? She knew something in me that I didn't even know, because I was perfectly happy as a safety committee member. And then she's like, I want you to be a planning commissioner now, because one day I want you to run for city council. I was like, well, that's way too much right now. I want to enjoy what I was doing, because also as a planning commissioner, you have to be on TV, right? You have to dress up. On the safety committee, I got to go to the sheriff's station and just dress casually. And then, and then I was like, I don't want to be on TV, and I don't want to have to dress up. And so I told her no, and then she convinced me a few more times, and finally I said, okay, I'll do it. I'm glad she did, because she knew something in me that I didn't know, is that one day I was going to run for city council. And so I did. I ran for city council. I lost 2 times, won the 3rd time, and then I became the mayor of the city of Cerritos. I think one of the greatest city in LA County. Some people think Cerritos is part of Orange County because it's so nice, right? So I did that, and then I decided that last year that I was going to retire as a police officer, because I had my 28 years. I turned 50. I know some people are saying that's still young. I agree. But I also wanted to spend some time with my son, my 16-year-old, because he's the youngest of the 2, and I had 2 more years left to be a parent before he graduated. So I took that opportunity to also step down from the council, because I didn't want to be a career politician. I promised what I said I was going to do for those 5 years I was there. I did it. I had all these checklists that I did. I promised it. I delivered it. And I'm like, let someone else try, right? And so I retired from that. And while I was retiring and enjoying my life, just traveling in the summer with my family, because we used to travel all over the United States, because before I got elected, we have an RV, so we traveled to 42 states in America already. And because we're just, their summer, we would just take off. Well, finally, I got some time, so I took the family. We traveled for about a month and a half out of state this past summer, and then I get a phone call from certain people from DC, and they're like, "Hey, Chuong, we know you, but you may not know us." So I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of strange," and so I talked to them. They're like, "Chuong, we would really like for you to consider running for Congress in Michelle Still's old seat." I was like, "You're crazy, because that's Michelle's seat. I thought she's running again. I was going to help her, and we were going to win this time, take that seat back, because Derek Tran just won by 653 votes." And I'll go into that in a little bit. So after going back and forth, I decided, hey, I'll meet with you guys in Orange County. Orange County Lincoln Club also called me, and so I met with them. And after I met with them, I told them I will only do it if there's a clear path to win, because I did not want to do this to waste people's time, waste my time, and also more importantly, waste people's money. Because when you run an election, there's lots of folks that work really hard for their money, and they want to donate to you because they believe in you, they believe in your cause, right? And so that's the one thing that I told them, that, hey, I'm going to do it, but you got to show me a pathway to win. And they did. And how they painted that pathway was this, and I'll explain it to the folks that haven't heard this yet. I truly am the only candidate out of the 5 Republicans that are listed right now that can beat the incumbent Derek Tran that took the seat away from Michelle last year. He beat Michelle by only 653 votes out of 300,000 ballots cast. 653, that's not even 1%, it's 0.2% of the ballots. And so he really just got lucky and got by and won. And the reason why he won is because he was the first Vietnamese that they put up against Michelle. Little Saigon is very conservative in Westminster, Orange County, Garden Grove, and Fountain Valley. So even though they're conservative, they voted for Trump by 10 points during 2024. But unfortunately for Michelle, though, she only got 5 points. So the other 5 points went to Derek Tran, right? And so she still had some votes from the Vietnamese community, but because Derek was the first Vietnamese that ran against Michelle, they decided to vote for him because he was Vietnamese instead of the fact that he was a Democrat. They kind of gave him a chance, I want to say. They thought, hey, you know what, we'll vote on ethnicity instead of party. And so that's one reason why he won. The other reason he won is because in the district, there's 3 LA County cities, Cerritos, Artesia, and Hawaiian Gardens. Typically, they vote blue, right? Democrats. And so Michelle also lost votes from there because Derek is a Democrat. So those cities traditionally vote blue. So, and they say, well, Chuong, that's why you're the only candidate that can beat Derek, because now the community in Little Saigon has a Vietnamese Republican to vote for. That's me. But they also have the other candidates, right, that are Vietnamese Republicans as well. But the difference between me and the other candidates is that I'm from Cerritos. The 3 cities at the time, now it's 5 cities from LA County, the 3 cities at the time that Derek was able to get votes away from Michelle. Well, I was the mayor and a council member of Cerritos. When I ran in 2020, I got over 5,300 votes. Just in one city alone, his 653 votes just got erased right there. So that's why, like, Chuong, you're the only candidate that can win Derek Tran. And if you're not the one that passes the primary, we really don't have any hopes of beating Derek Tran, regardless of who wins in the Republican side. So that's why I'm running, because we need to take the seat back for our group, our conservative values. And as you can see, the community in Little Saigon gave him a chance, and he has proven over and over and over again that he does not represent his community in Little Saigon when he's not signing resolution to be anti-socialist. When he's refusing to sign bills that the conservative side is trying to, get for our folks, which is the big beautiful bill. He voted against that. And then another thing he voted against was the DHS budget. So he's been going around taking pictures of cities and communities with checks saying that, hey, I brought millions of dollars to this city. I brought hundreds of thousands of dollars to this city. In Fountain Valley, he brought $2 million something for a fire station, right? That money, the only reason why that money exists is because the Republicans voted for it. He voted against it. And then he's going around touting that he brought money to the cities when he actually voted against that bill. And the only reason why Fountain Valley has it, Cerritos and other cities that have it, is because the Republican passed that bill by the Republican majority. So it's interesting that he's going around doing that. So he does not represent the constituents in his cities. He represents his party. And whatever his party tells him to do, he does. For the longest time, he goes to Minnesota. He was out there campaigning for the anti-ICE thing. He was out there with them when he should be here, working for the people. That's the one thing that you'll find with me is I will be here. When I'm not in D.C., I'll be here. I'll be here so often that you guys probably know me so well that we'll become close friends, right? Because I truly work better that way than when someone needs me and has never met me or never heard from me, and then they got to meet them that one time when they need me for something. I'd rather you call me because you know where I stand, how hard I work, and you can always reach out to me. So that's why I'm here. That's why I've been everywhere, and that's why I continue to do that. And I don't have a problem with town hall meetings, by the way. I don't know why the Republican side refuses to do it. I enjoy it. I have no problems with the other side coming and arguing with me or disagreeing with me, because as a council member, that's the one thing we do every 2 weeks, right? We hold town hall meetings. It's called council meetings, and guess what? We can't stop the other side from coming and critiquing us, and so we're used to it. Some of these other elected congressional members have never been on council, and they just don't feel comfortable to open up a town hall meeting and to listen to the other side. So I would do that. I don't have any problems, because I don't think we always know it all. I don't think we're always right. And it's always good to hear the other side. what they think too. So that's who I am. That's why I can beat Derek Tran, and that's why it's so important that you vote for the right person, because no matter who you vote for, if it's not me, it's Chuong Vo, by the way, not the other Vo. If you vote for them because you like them, or because they've spent more money than me, or because they have more yard signs out there, they will not beat Derek Tran, because Derek Tran has $3-4 million in his bank right now, right? The only thing that we can beat Derek Tran is somebody that actually has momentum and also has name recognition in the LA cities. And so if everything stays the same today, I would beat him today. And the reason why I know that is because even the Democrat on his side feels like I'm a threat, because guess where he's been campaigning most of the time? In Cerritos, right? He's been canvassing in Cerritos. He wrote the biggest check in Cerritos. Found Valley got $2 million, and Jim called me up and said, "Hey, we got $2 million." And then he realized, he looked it up, and what did you tell me? He's like, "Oh my God, Cerritos got the most, over $3 million. Why would you send $3 million to a city that's pretty well off already?" Well, it was well off until the Dems took over, and now they're ruining our reserves. But why do that? It's because he knows that I'm the threat. He's not really showing up in Westminster. I mean, have you seen him in Derek Tran in Westminster, going campaigning and stuff? He's campaigning in that region: Cerritos, Norwalk, Artesia, and in Cypress. I think he was in Cypress this last week. So that just shows you even his campaign has identified me as the only threat. So he's campaigning early right now against me. So if anyone else goes through the primary, you can go ahead and just say Derek is your next congressman again. And the problem is this: if we don't beat him this time, he's going to get name recognition. Right now, his name recognition is not that great because he hasn't been around long enough. And he hasn't done anything to the last 2 months. And when the election started, he started doing things. And so his name recognition isn't there. But if he wins this round, he's going to have more name recognition and so forth. And that's why they say the best time to beat the incumbent is always during their first term. And so that's why they reached out to me. That's why they know that I'll go out there and I'll work my butt off and I'll make sure that this happens. So I'll open it up to any questions at all. Anybody have any questions? Do you guys believe me? Or So that's my story. That's why I'm here. Yes, Barbara.
Okay, so why do you want to?
Why do I want to? Oh, well, first off, what I'm seeing today is the crazy far left trying to take over America values, destroy. Hey, what's up, Ted? Take over our country. One of the things that what makes America so great is that America is so great, even the people that hate it won't leave, right? And so I'm running to make sure we preserve those values. I'm running to make sure we keep the majority in the House, because this seat, the 45th and the 13, are the only 2 contested seats that is winnable, that's identified by the Republican Party, but also the Democrats, that said that this seat is the 2 most contested seats that the Republicans can maybe win back, and that's why they're working really hard. So Michelle Steele and Derek last election spent over $50 million in this seat, because it's still very purple, this district. Even after Prop 50, the gerrymandering, it went in more towards LA County, and it took some Orange County seats. But when it went more into LA County, it actually helped me, because I have name recognition over there. When they added Norwalk and a little bit of Lakewood, well, I already got the Norwalk mayor's endorsement right away. When that happened, I called her up. I know Jennifer. Hey, Jen, you're in my district now. Will you endorse me? Say, heck yeah, I will, because we love you there, right? So it's easier for me, and so I'm running because we got, 1, keep the majority in the House, 2, preserve the American values that my parents risked our lives to be here, and if we don't do that, I'll tell you, every single day, if the Dems get the majority, what's going to happen? We're going to get impeach every single day. Nothing will ever get done, and our government is going to be on lockdown. And you think it's bad now, just wait until the Dems take over the majority of the House. And so it's just going to be a constant drain on the system. Yes. So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing it. Another reason, too, is just, at the end of the day, if I say this to every elected, especially if I'm in the district. I even told the city council, I just say, hey, don't give me a reason to run. Do your job. If Derek was actually out there doing his job, doing the things that people voted him in for, it'd be great, right? Everyone would be happy. I would love to enjoy my retirement. I mean, trust me, I had great plans, but I put all that on hold because Derek didn't do his job. And the folks that really believe in America and want to bring back those values, they called me and they're like, "Hey, Chung, will you do it?" And I'm like, "Absolutely, I would," because truly, that's what we all came here as Vietnamese refugee is to protect American values and experience it. We came here not for handouts. We came here for opportunities, and we got those opportunities, and we're going to work hard to give those opportunities to the next generation and the next generation after that. So that's why I'm running. So, any other question? Don't make this too easy. Yeah, bud.
So last night you kind of touched on foreign policy, Israel. How would you work towards bringing stability to that region and maybe getting more countries to join the Abraham Accords?
So you're talking about Israel, right?
Yeah, just the Middle East in general.
Well, I mean that whole area is very unstable, right? We all know, and I don't think it'll ever be stable moving forward. But what's nice is that we continue to be friends with our allies, and Israel is one of them. And I'm going to make sure that we work with them and move forward with that. Israel needs to protect themselves. They have the right to protect themselves, like we have the right to protect ourselves. And when we go against any of our allies, I think it hurts not just our relationship, but the peace throughout the world, right? So in that area, I want to maintain peace, but also work with Israel. I would always support Israel because they're one of our allies, just like Taiwan, just like other countries out there. If we break ties with one, then the others won't really trust us, right? So I will always support Israel. So thank you.
Where do you stand on America first?
Where I stand in America first?
Yeah.
Well, America first is always America first. You know, we as Republicans, we as conservative, we should never ever rely on foreign countries for anything. We're here to help them if they need it, right? But we shouldn't rely on them for anything. We should be able to take care of ourselves first before we take care of anybody else, right? So America first is very important. But at the same time, I also recognize that I'm from Vietnam. If America wasn't in Vietnam, if they didn't try to do what they did, my family wouldn't be here, right? So it affects me personally when I see that America does have an impact on peace and opportunity, and for those people that want to immigrate here legally to take on the American dream and to have that. So, but we can't do that though unless we take care of America first. And in order to do that, then we can help those afterwards. Great question. You should have been at the forum last night. It would have been fun to hear the other person too. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's a lot. I mean, I might have to pull up the list, but just for the groups, I've been endorsed by Carl DeMile's group, Reform California, which is the voter ID. And just by the way, I was with him, Carl, and Ken Calvert at the Riverside County Registrar's Office when we did a press release with all the ballots when we turned it in. So I was standing right there with them. So I'm endorsed by Reform California, endorsed by the California CRA, right, which is the California Republican Assembly, Orange County Lincoln Club, LA County Lincoln Club, the LA GOP, and then the individual-wise, as you know, the mayor of Fountain Valley, former mayor over there, Ted. I got Kim Constantine's endorsement as well, so we got 3 council members from Fountain Valley, and then the list goes on. I mean, LA County Supervisor, of course, is pretty good. County Janet Wynn, but also Don Wagner just endorsed me as well. I have Tony Strickland's endorsement. Gosh, anyone else over there? I got a lot. Yeah, those are the main ones. The local officials, the local electeds. I got the mayor of Garden Grove, Stephanie, has endorsed me as well. So I don't think anyone from Westminster is going to endorse me. Yeah, because the candidates are from Westminster that's running against me. So, I mean, I'd love to have their endorsement after the primary. Yeah. Oh, Westminster. So I've got over 25 endorsements right now, but it's because I haven't had a chance to call them all. I think once people meet me and understand what I'm about and understand that I'm not doing it just for the mere fact of the title or because I think it's cool, I'm giving up really something that I truly love, and I'm doing this out of the passion of doing what's right for America. And I mean, isn't it crazy that a kid that's from Vietnam, that's a refugee, never thought I was going to ever run for politics. I actually thought politicians were, no offense, guys, but I'm putting myself in there too. But I was like, man, they're self-serving individuals and all this other stuff. And then something happened in my life that triggered me to get involved. And then from there, just kept on going. If you asked me, 15 years ago, would I be doing this, running for Congress? I'll tell you, hell no, because I would never thought that an individual like me who just came here, my parents sacrificed everything. I want to just be a police officer, have a family, and now I'm running for. I'm living the American dream right now. It's just crazy. And I already thought I'm thinking to myself, I've already won, because my boys last night, came to the debate and they listened to me, they heard me, and they both afterwards came up and gave me this biggest hug and a kiss, which they normally don't do, right? But they came up and gave me a kiss, and I was like, you guys are awesome. They were so proud of me that they got to listen to me debate, and they've heard me before, but they usually don't go out to events. But last night they wanted to come out, and so it's just stuff like that. I feel like I'm a winner already. But yeah, I never thought I was going to be doing something like this. I mean, this is big. This is a big deal, right? And I'm taking it like it's a big deal. It's really serious. And then when I see other candidates run, it's because they just want their name recognition, because they just want to raise some money, because they want to use it for whatever. This is a serious job, and you got to be serious to do it right. And so, so I'm really excited about this. I can't wait to I get all the way. Because again, I'm not doing this because I'm thinking I'm going to lose. I'm doing this because I know I'm going to win. I'm going to work towards that goal. One as an underdog, but I'll work my butt off to get there. Yes, ma'am.
Immigration policy.
Yes.
So, what changes will be made with our immigration policy?
Oh, great.
What do you feel about citizenship?
Yeah. So I'll tell you that immigration policy. When I first started running in October, that's when I officially announced October last year. I was at another event of the Orange County Lincoln Club. And I spoke about immigration. Back then, you remember it didn't look pretty on TV. Immigration enforcement did not look good on TV. When you have agents dragging people out of the cars, you had the shootings and stuff like that. It just doesn't look pretty. And as a police officer, 28 years, and I was a use of force instructor for like about 20 of those years. So I taught the police officers in my department how to use force, how to control, how to arrest folks. And so I know a lot about how to teach folks how to handle arrests, and also how to look, how it will look when it's on TV. So we always tell folks, use of force will never look pretty. So don't expect it to look pretty. But we try and limit that. We try to do it. I have a saying, the longer it takes to use force, the more force you need to use. So we like to do it quick, get it done, and get out of there, right? But unfortunately, what was going on that I was seeing, if you ask any police officer that was watching, they'll tell you the same thing, right? Is that what we were seeing was untrained individuals doing the job that they were told to do because they had nobody else to do it. And I say that is because of this. I have friends that are FBI agents. They've been FBI agents for 20-some years, and suddenly immigration enforcement kicks in. They threw them a vest and a suit and said, hey, go out there and enforce immigration. And my buddy was like, I haven't been in the street for like 15 years. And they gave him 1 day of training. And what you saw was a derivative of a lack of training that they needed. So one of the things I said at this club was that I would make sure that our ICE agents, federal agents, well, more specifically, the department that actually handles this should be handling it, which is DHS, right? When we're throwing all these other agents in there, Border Patrol and all these other stuff, it kind of caused an issue because these folks are more specialized in other things and they're asked to do everything. And so when I said that I would provide extra training for them, make sure they got the right training, but also in the hiring process. Remember, they offer, $10,000 to people that would sign up, and they wanted to hire, crazy amount of people all at once, really quick. When you hire a lot really fast, few people sneak in there, and that's an issue. I was the hiring guy for my department for 6 years. I did backgrounds, and so we made sure that we hired the right people. Not because we needed just the numbers, but we needed the right people. And so when I said all this, this is what I do when I get to Congress. It's my background as a police officer, use of force. I want to make sure we train our agents better, make sure they get the right resources and the right equipment. And once that happens and they feel confident in their job, there'll be a better outcome, not just for themselves, because I want to do this for the safety of the officers first and foremost, but because they're doing it safely, the outcome is the people they deal with generally will be also safer, and it looks better on TV, right? And so when I said that, I remember this one individual came up to me and said, well, you're anti-Trump and anti-ICE. And I'm like, where did you get that message? I said I was going to make sure they got trained and make sure that they get more resources. And then you remember a few months ago when everything got changed in Minnesota, what did Trump say? Trump said, yeah, I think we need to do it a little differently now. And so I was like, wow, I got vindicated, right? And so I called him up. I told him, you hear what Trump just said? He said, you're right, Chuong. You're right. And so that's one of the things I would continue to do is make sure that we enforce immigration laws, no doubt. when you break the law when you first come here, you can't expect America to be your country if you're already breaking the law the first thing you do when you cross the border, right? So anybody and everybody, and this is where I stand, anybody and everybody that broke the law, they need to go back. They need to do it right, right? So for those that came here legally, only the ones that came here legally that are in the process. The problem with the immigration issue right now, it is kind of broken. It's broken not because the system is, it's broken because of all the illegals that got allowed to come in during the Biden years, and it just inundated the whole system. And so that's why I have friends that have been in the system now for like 5-10 years, is because they have to deal with all the illegals. They got pushed back even further. The ones that are here legally, trying to go through the process. So we need to make sure the system is allowing for those who want to do it legally, go through the process, and make it in a way that if they can do it legally, they will get processed by a certain time. The problem is because it's been so difficult, you have all these illegals just swelling up the system, and then the system then is broken because of that. So we need to make sure all the illegals need to go back. They need to make sure that if they want to come back, go through the system. But those that are here legally, they need to be moved up in the front of the line. And so that would be my policy right there on immigration. And sometimes people think, oh, you support amnesty and all this stuff. I support those who come here legally to go through the process legally and to get that process done. Like I did that. Lots of folks here. America's built on immigration, right? America, we're diverse because of that, but we're diverse on legal immigration, not illegal. I think a lot of illegals is causing the problems. So those who want to come here legally, and the ones that want to support our country and would believe in our values, they should be allowed to stay. But the ones that are out there, flying whatever flag, because they think that our country is terrible, and if you don't like this country, then you can go back. That's what my comment earlier. I said this country is so great that even the ones that hate it won't leave. So yes, that's one of the things. Oh, I'm sorry. What was your other question?
Birthright citizens.
Birthright citizens. Well, it's interesting because for the longest time I've known this. I think everyone's known this, that people pay people money to bring people here when they're pregnant, or get pregnant here on the soil of America and then have citizenship. I always thought that was strange. I always thought that was wrong. I know of a family that did that, where they came here and they said it wasn't on purpose. During COVID, everything got shut down. They were here on vacation, and they gave birth, and so the parents got sent back, and the child was left here with the auntie, right? And so that in itself, I think, is wrong because you're separating parents and kids, right? And so the intention of birthright citizenship really wasn't, for me, meant for that, right? Because we're actually, it's a loophole, and this loophole is being taken advantage of, and so we need to close that loophole. And so if you're both parents are citizens and you're living here, of course your kid's going to be a citizen, right? But when you just come here on a trip, and this is something that I would make sure I will provide resources for too, is that those are things that are easily, I think it's easy to detect and find, is that when immigration, when they're checking people in like other countries, they ask what the purpose is, why you're here. And if they see, of course, the obvious, right, then it's like, well, we need to make sure that, we monitor them and so forth, and or turn them back. They don't have to cross the border. What's crazy is people think that once you get to the checkpoint, that we have to accept you. America can turn you around like other countries will do. So if there's any suspicions whatsoever, they should be turned around and sent back. So I hope that answered your question. Okay. Any other?
See what the Supreme Court says.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, the Supreme Court's been kind of good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I say kind of.
I think we're gonna take a beating next.
Yeah, that is the other thing I have to mention is I'm a true believer of the Constitution, though, and the Constitution does lay it out, all right. And so that's something we have to look at. But I really think the intent of the whole thing was for citizens to have birthright citizenship. So
I listened to your argument in the Supreme Court
yeah,
a couple of weeks ago.
yeah.
I had a bet on that.
Well, don't bet on it. Yeah, don't bet on it.
I never bet on it.
Yeah.
Yes, I would like to hear your comments about the shooting yesterday at the White House correspondent dinner. And if you become a lawmaker, what can you do about that?
Well, first off, I wasn't there, so I'm not. One of the things that police officers know very well is we get Monday morning quarterback all the time because when incidents, shootings happen, we have to react quickly, right? So, and the hardest thing for us is that, the next day people get to question everything we do. So they have 24 hours to look at everything, whereas the officer at the time has split seconds to decide what to do. That's where the training comes in, right? And so I always say I wasn't there, so I can't speak for those officers, but what I saw in surveillance was one of the things that I actually just talked to my wife this morning. I was like, how did that person get to be allowed to run past that checkpoint, right? And so, and again, I wasn't there. I don't know what other checkpoints they had, but it just didn't look good. And so if I was a congressman, or when I'm a congressman, I'll make sure we do investigations on that to make sure we close that gap. We make it more secure, because it's shocking to me, the most powerful man in the world got exposed to a potential shooter, right? And I'll tell you, when Trump or any president comes to Torrance, man, we go overboard. I mean, we do with the generals when they show up at Torrance. We have snipers on the roof. We have lockdowns everywhere. He's surrounded, and Trump was. And I'm not going to say that the Secret Service did anything wrong. I don't know enough to comment on it, but based on the video, it's just shocking to me, and I think it shocks everybody that he was able to run across that checkpoint as easily as he did, and get a round off and shoot a round off at the agent.
With
So-
a shotgun and
Yeah.
a couple pistols and a bunch of knives.
And then the other question I would have, is how was he able to get those weapons? Because he's from, ironically, he's from Torrance, California, and he's a teacher, right?
Should have arrested him a long time ago.
Yeah, I looked at his name and thought, do I even remember this guy at all? But no, I didn't recognize his name. But my point is, like, did he buy the weapons? Did he fly? Did he drive? I don't know any of this, so it's hard.
He came by train.
Yeah, so I can't comment on something I don't have all the information. But if I was a Congress member, I would ask all these questions. I'm sure they'll share it with me when that time comes. But just based on what I saw, it's just shocking to the conscience of most people is that guy was able to run across and take a round off. And I say that because the president is important, but that Secret Service agent also got hit. He's important too. So we got to do something to make sure all the folks that protect him is also safe, right? And so every single incident, I'll tell you this, there's always a debriefing. No one's perfect. There's always going to be something there, and every time they make a mistake, they make it tighter, right? They make it better. And so hopefully that after this, they'll understand that. And that's why we need the ballroom, like Trump said, right? We need the ballroom so he can have all those events there and safer for everyone. Because don't forget, there was 1,000 people there. Any one of those people could have gotten killed. So it's not just protecting the president, it's protecting everybody in that room. So it's important for us to make sure that everyone's safe, and the safest thing, like Trump said, is give him a ballroom so he can do all his events there. So, okay. Any other questions? That's it? So I'll say this. I'll just say one last thing before Jim takes over. It's very important for me that I spread the word of who I am, right? Because I want to win. I need to win. But at the end of the day, you're going to have options out there. You're going to have 5 options on the Republican side and 1 on the Democrat. So you have 6. You get to choose. You are the people that cast the ballot. And so all I ask is you do your research, do exactly what you're doing, come to candidates forum, spread the word for the folks about me. If you truly believe that I'm the best or I'm the only one, then please spread the word. The other thing that we need is help canvassing. We need help with walking. We need help, and this is the hardest thing that I always ask for, is that we need help with money. Running for a congressional race, when I started this, they told me that expect to raise about $500,000 a month. That's a month. Not realistic for someone like me. I was shocked. So, and they're talking about an actual incumbent that's already there, and that's crazy how much congressional people raise, right? So I've been working really hard. I think I've been doing pretty good. I've raised now over $330,000 since I started in October, but that's nowhere where I need to be. In order to hit, we have 18 cities in this district. In order to hit every single city with mail and with just messaging, it's going to cost me another $200,000 above the $330,000 I've already raised. So we're looking at a budget around $500,000, and my consultant says we need to get there in the next month, and we need to get there soon so we can use the money today. Because as you see, there's another gentleman with my same last name, and I won't mention his first name because I don't want you to get confused, right? But he has paid already over $450,000 just on signs and people putting up signs is what I understand. I don't know for sure, but that's all I see. That's all I've seen. I know he sent some Vietnamese text messages because I know I got one and my wife got one, which is a waste of money for him. I don't know why he sent it to us, but my point is he's self-funded. He donated all his money. I'm not self-funded. I need the help of the people, and what I'm proud of the most is about 3,000. Those 3,000 those have donated to me are $100 and less. And it's not just here in Orange County, but all over the country, because they recognize all over the country that if we don't keep the majority of the house, it affects everybody. So when I get people from Huntington Beach or the Inland Empire or someone from Florida that reaches out to me and says, well, why should I help? I can't vote for you, so I can't do anything for you. At the end of the day, no, that's wrong. What you can do is you can help me get votes. If I can't get your 1 vote, help me get 5, help me get 10 by giving me a donation so I can get the message out there to get 5 people to vote for me. And so money is I hate to say this, it's one of the most important things to win the race. I can be the best candidate out there. I can walk all day and every day, and I have been walking a lot. The message, there's no way we can hit 18 cities by myself. So I need all those help. So thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Jim, for opening your house. And my campaign manager out there, he may look young, but he's a force to be reckoned with. Okay, and he actually looks young, and he is young. So thank you, everyone, for coming. And I'll be here for a little bit if you want to ask me any individual questions. Thank you. Thanks so much, John. Thank you.
So just in closing, I wanted to recognize former Mayor and Councilman Ted Bowie. Thank you for coming out, Ted. That means a lot to the movement, the campaign. As Chuong said, there's 18 cities in this congressional 45th, the way it's been redrawn. But we're here in Fountain Valley, and Fountain Valley is going to work hard to deliver a victory to Chuong. We have, I think, 22 precincts, somewhere 22, 23, and that's a lot of voters. And so many of you here have a lot of influence in your neighborhoods. So what we really need to do over the next couple weeks is make sure that we are getting to our neighbors. We really want you to take some of these lawn signs, especially in the neighborhood. We know that when they're in the neighborhoods, people get sort of desensitized on the streets, but when they're in the neighborhoods, that has a stronger impact. So please, I'm going to be handing these signs as a parting gift from this event. Okay, so there's a couple of things we really want to work hard on. Okay, so but I think with that, thanks for coming out today. The work is started, but there's a long way to go to get to victory. And so with that, let's help Chuong Vo become our next congressman. All right, let's go.
I'm Adrian Ayub. I'm running for assembly, but I'm here to support Chuong Vo. And we're both guys from Cerritos running for office. We really need to keep the House. You got to think of the bigger picture, and I do believe he might be the only candidate that could win in the general election. Being from LA County, like in the district I'm running for assembly, it was Republican until they added LA County parts to it, and that's what the Democrats do. They make these districts so that they can steal from Republicans. Derek Tran, he only started showing up in Cerritos when it was election time. He talked to a lot of Vietnamese, and they thought they wanted to give him a chance, but he's not in Westminster. He's not. He's campaigning in areas just preparing for the general. He's not available. He's showing checks of money for Cerritos and all these cities, but he doesn't even. It's all Democrat in Cerritos, right? So there's no accountability in where those funds are going to even go. So pretty much my generation we feel our future has been stolen by Democrats, not only in Sacramento, but Washington, D.C. We're just trying to get people to think differently.
I know many of these candidates throughout Orange County, and Chuong was involved in a lot of these different events that I went to. As I became to know him, he is a quality individual. I've got a lot of law enforcement in my family, and with him coming from the law enforcement and as a former police officer, I've got a great deal of respect for the service that he has done. And he is just a common sense individual. And out of all the candidates that are there, I don't think there's a better candidate than Chuong run for Congress. I'm backing him 100%, and everybody I run into, I make sure they know that this is the man you need to vote for. So.